Hello everyone and welcome back. It's Boone Williams. I want to first address the fact that I have this sort of funky lighting going on where I look like I'm being lit in the dark by some sort of fancy mechanism. I kind of look like I'm in a halo or something, and I love it, but I think it might affect the focusing at some points, so if I start looking fuzzy, I apologize. I'll keep an eye on it, but this weather in LA has been so gray all week, and I've been relying on my window to shoot light in because I don't have fancy lighting yet in this place, so I want it to be sunny and it's not sunny, and I also have a very funky rock and roller hair right now, and I've got my little kind of punk rock sort of jacket, so I've got a bit of a Joan Jett vibe going on. I hope you guys are okay with that. So now that I am settled into LA, at least somewhat, I'm settling in still, but I feel more settled than I have before, and I'm starting to take some breaths. I wanted to go over some of the culture shock that I have experienced. A lot of these things are things that I noticed back in October when I stayed here for a month, and now that I've settled in more fully, I've had more experience, and I've got a little more to talk about. First thing I noticed, this was back in October especially, is just lunch is an entirely interesting, wild concept here. Doing lunch, I feel like, is one of the main ways Angelenos socialize and get together. Oftentimes it's planned and never happens, but when it does happen, you can expect to spend at least $20 on an entree, and then here's the kicker: people don't finish their food. Now, I myself am an eater. I'm not much of a snacker. I'll go a whole day, not really having snacks in between meals, but when I sit down for a breakfast, lunch, or a dinner, I am going to eat a good amount of food, and I'm going to eat all of it. It's just my style, especially when I'm spending money. I don't go out for food so often, so I want to really enjoy it, and I'm not much of a leftovers person. I can count on one hand, I'm sure, how many times I've taken food home from a restaurant. It gets very expensive very quickly socializing in Los Angeles if you're going to be doing lunches for all your get-togethers. And then if you're like me, you also have to feel judged while you finish your meal, and whoever else you're with has maybe half of it at most, and you're like, ah. One thing I've learned is that if you are going to go out for lunch and you don't feel like you need to have a gigantic meal, the best thing to do is to order an appetizer, because it's plenty for one person most of the time. Most restaurants will give you good portions, and if it's just you who's going to have it and that's going to be your whole meal, it's probably going to be cheaper than an entree. It's probably going to be pretty delicious anyway, you're just going to save money, so get an appetizer. Another thing I noticed back in October that continues to impress me is how long it takes to cross the street. I discovered this first in North Hollywood. I was crossing Lankershim, and I took what felt like a century. I kind of couldn't believe how long you would wait there. I've never been in any other part of the world where streets are that big everywhere. It's a city made for driving. So as a pedestrian, it's going to be an adventure. Get ready for it if you're on foot, even if it's just a short walk from your car to wherever the event you're going to is, or whatever you're doing. Crossing the street is an event. It really is. It's really something that is going to get you to pause, take a breath, slow down, take it in. It's probably for the best that these streets are so big. I think my relationship with strangers is different in a way that I like in LA that other people may not like. I'm very personable. I will make friends with strangers a lot. I make small talk everywhere I go, and I'll just get into conversations with people, in line at a coffee shop or whatever. I am familiar with people in those situations being polite, strangers being polite, but people not necessarily wanting to open up unless you're really, really close. In LA, however, I have noticed that people are more likely to really kind of be themselves, even when you're a stranger. They might not necessarily pour their heart and soul out to you, but I do feel like people are more likely to be honest about how they're actually doing. If you say hi to a stranger, say, hey, what's up, how are you doing? They'll probably tell you, if their dog is sick, they'll tell you, or if they just had food poisoning, they might tell you. People are just kind of more honest. They're less trying to put up a front about being great all the time, which sounds antithetical to how people describe LA as being this place where everyone's trying to look perfect. That exists in its own realm, but I think generally speaking, just going from neighborhood to neighborhood in LA when you're interacting with strangers, people are more likely to just kind of they wear whatever and they'll like be honest about what's going on in their life, even if it isn't glamorous. Personally, I love this. I love, just the candidness of it all and getting to make these honest connections with strangers all the time. In such a big city especially, you're constantly meeting people who you might have a cool connection with and then you'll never see again. So it's definitely a good city for the wandering extrovert such as myself. Similarly beneficial to the wandering extrovert, there's something going on every night, every day in LA. It's such a big city with different neighborhoods, different communities, different cultures. There's always something going on. So you don't ever have to be bored. If you want to go to a play or a concert or an open mic night or a wine tasting or a party or whatever floats your boat, there's something happening constantly. I love it because I am someone who's bored often and just craves social interaction a lot and really is energized by people. So I like having the option to go out at basically any time. I think that the adaptation I've had to make since moving here, since I'm not used to that widespread availability of things to do, is to actually limit myself, learn to take down time, and realize I don't need to be out all the time. I'm not a partier. I'm not like someone who goes out and stays out super late. I'm kind of a sleepy old lady, actually, but I am very social, and I do like meeting new people. So if there's stuff going on during the day especially, I'm always finding something to go out and do, which is awesome. In a similar vein of busyness, there is definitely something about productivity here. The culture around it, it is desirable to always be getting something done. I think people always want to make sure they look like they're getting things done. A lot of people genuinely are doing a lot of stuff. I have a lot of friends in the industry, in the entertainment industry, who make their own movies, who write their own sketches, who produce their own stuff, and they get their friends to do it, and they do it cheaply or whatever, and they do it out of passion and love, and I think that's fantastic. If you're an artist moving to Los Angeles, it's definitely a great place to be, to make connections and to find other people who are passionate about what you're doing and driven and who want to collaborate with you. That said, I think whether you're involved in the entertainment industry or not, whether you're an artist or not, that sort of cultural, I would say, pressure to be productive all the time and get things done and have a lot going on is pervasive throughout the general Los Angeles area, and it's easy to be affected by it, even if you're not an actor, producer, director, songwriter, whatever. I have noticed myself since I've got here, it's like that hustle culture, as people say, really does start to get you. I have started making a lot more stuff, which I'm very grateful for. I mean, I think this idea about needing to be productive all the time is there for an important reason, and it can serve us, and it can really help us express ourselves and find new opportunities and unique and interesting ways. I think that the balance is just on being able to find time to take a breath and making sure you're doing things that actually provide you with a sense of fulfillment, or they spark some kind of curiosity in you. You're doing things because you want to do them and not just burning yourself out doing kind of random stuff just because you feel you have to. I'm still finding the balance of it. I'm really happy to be making these YouTube videos again because they're familiar to me, and I've been doing this for quite a while now, and I love it, and I love the response that I get from it, and people really are open to starting conversations. When you guys watch these videos, we get some really cool dialogues and you can say incredibly lovely things, and I love it. Something else I'm finding that's really affecting me since moving is the kind of just slowness of it all, the Southern California slowness. It takes me longer to get ready now. I don't know what to say. I have totally fallen into this sort of go with the flow nature of things where I make a plan and then suddenly I'm running late, and I've never been someone who's run late before, but that's very normal here. People are late all the time, which is kind of a relief because, if I get somewhere early and someone's running late, I don't care. I have no problem killing time. If I'm late, I start to stress out though, so luckily now usually if I text someone and say, hey, I'm running late, they are too, which is fantastic. Similarly, plans just kind of change all the time. I mean, I'm not going to say everyone in LA is just a total flake, but there is a lot going on and people are genuinely busy, and especially in the artistic community where people are kind of just trying to stay afloat. If you're, like me, you're newer, everyone's trying to fend for themselves, figure out what they're doing, and hustling. And so you might make plans and then the last minute they change or they don't happen, and that is just normal, and it's just something you have to get used to. Again, it's all part of this go with the flow culture that is very stereotypical of Southern California, and I'm finding how it exists in a practical sense in Los Angeles, and it's definitely different. All of these things are adaptations and things I've had to get used to. I have had family who's lived in LA, and I've been to LA before, so it hasn't been as shocking culturally to me as it would have been otherwise. But it's definitely, I'm still learning. I'm still getting used to the people and the places and everything here, and I'm having a really fun time. So if you have any questions about my adventures in LA, about what it's like moving, and about the industry and all of that, I'd be happy to talk about it more. I'm going to probably just kind of keep updating you guys on whatever I'm getting up to, because, you know, I'm so productive, as we established earlier. Yeah, thank you all very much for watching me ramble about what's been going on and what I've been observing. Let me know if you want to see anything else. If you had fun watching this video and enjoyed my Joan Jett punk rock style appearance, feel free to subscribe, share around, whatever you want to do. Thank you all so much, and I will see you next time. Mwah. Have a great day. Bye.